Ladies and gentlemen, the following is another exciting episode of the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. I am your host, that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always positive, life is great, repping 592, but living in the 718, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide starboy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is one of the most talked about men in New York City. He actually graduated from the Nightmare Factory Class 3. He is the Sultan of Sweet, the champion of chocolate, the king of candy. Everybody, welcome to the show, Joey Sweet Cheeks Silver.
Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here. Happy to be having this conversation.
Joey, I really appreciate it. I'll tell you the same thing I told JDX. I don't know if you've been tracking us, but we've actually been interviewing a lot of students from Nightmare Factory that have graduated. We've had people like the Diamond Sheik, TSF, the Renegade Twins. The list goes on and on and on. And it wasn't intended to be that way, but we've just seen the great work that y'all have actually been doing down there in Georgia, that it would be remiss of myself, Kathy Knight, and Rob Bass, who couldn't be with us tonight, to actually not try to have all y'all on our show. And we've heard a lot of very interesting stories. I was telling one of your classmates, JDX, shout out to JDX, that
Yes.
when I saw that class photo, because I know every time y'all graduate, there's a class photo with y'all and the coaches and whatnot. There were four people that were being talked about. There were four people. And one was, and JDS was like, no, don't say it was me. I'm like, yeah, buddy, sorry, it was you. You were one of them that people were talking about. JDX, Kid, who's the other one? Pretty Poppy. Of course, Joe, people were talking about you as well. So I was like, okay, those young men chase that.
Remy, I don't know if it's me, but I am having some internet issues right now, or there's some connection issues, so it's not really coming through so clean. We're live.
Outside here. Sorry, people. Hey, it's live. But yeah. So I was like, I remember when I saw the class photo, and people were talking about. What was the last part you heard?
I heard you say they were talking about JDX, Kid Bandit. I think it was Pretty Poppy.
Yeah. And then the fourth person was you yourself, Sweet Cheeks Joey Silver. They were talking about you.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to make sure I have all four of these young men on the show in the very near future, because they're the most talked about, and it'll be interesting to hear their stories and so on. And I actually got to see you live recently at the last two House of Glory shows.
Oh, nice.
I didn't even know you were a mainstay there. Like, I went there and I was like, wait a minute, that's Sweet Cheeks. That's the guy I saw. Sorry, motorcycles. That was
That's all good.
that was the guy I saw on the Student Showcase 3 that was facing Gaston.
That's right.
I was like, wow, small world, and I saw you were with HOGPD. I guess that's what they're called.
Mm-hmm.
And man, y'all were just over with the crowd, man. And I saw that match again that you had against, was it Carlos Ramirez? Is his name?
Yeah.
The really huge guy that does a choke slam.
Yeah, he's a monster.
Man, I do not envy you, man. I don't envy you at all with that guy. Like, I was like, if I were a wrestler and I had to face that guy, I'd be like, look, man, just take the win, man. I ain't got time for this. I'm gonna just go take the time out somewhere, man. You can have the win.
I had to stand up for what's right. I had to stand up to Carlos Ramirez. But yeah, I saw you guys were having on like all of the Camp 3 classmates, and I was like, I got to get on Ringside Society. This is the place to be. This is where it's at.
Yeah, the unique thing about us is that we didn't just get your classmates too. We even got the referees. So like Paulie and
Hmm.
Santiago, yeah, they could say they've been on here too. You know,
Yeah, a lot of great people down there in Georgia.
when I say we're all inclusive, I mean like we're all inclusive. We don't care what ethnicity you are. We don't care what community you're part of. We don't care what religion, sexual orientation. We've had people of all walks of life. We're all inclusive because at the end of the day, wrestling's for everybody. And you know, it's always a great thing to go to a wrestling show, especially if that's what you enjoy. It's like pretty much like a getaway, you know.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
So yeah, man. So I gotta ask you, man, how did your fandom for professional wrestling start? What was the main event or the pay per view that you saw that
What
made
was
you, you know what, I want to do this?
what was my origin story?
Yeah,
Um,
origin
so
of Sweet Cheeks.
yeah, I actually went to my very first event in 1996. I was 4 years old, so I only have like snapshot memories of a few things, and that would be Jake the Snake Roberts with the snake in the ring, and Undertaker when the lights went down, and Gold Dust. Those are like the three like snapshot memories I have from that very first match I went to at Nassau Coliseum, a WWF show, and what what really made me want. I mean, from there I was pretty much hooked, and I wanted to do this like forever, like do it as my job, and um, went to a ton of wrestling events after that. One of them being Brock versus Rock at SummerSlam '02,
Okay.
and I feel like that was such a big moment for me being in the crowd. I was like, I had great seats, floor seats, and that was one that definitely made me want to do this even more than I already did.
Wow, that's cool, man. That's you actually started watching at a really good time. So 1996, that was the new generation era. That's when you had Shawn Michaels and the rest of the gang. Shawn Michaels on his the boyhood dream has been realized. I never forget that year. Oh
Mm-hmm.
wow. And come to think about it, they had a great storyline. It was they had Marty Jannetty, who it's funny how they turned the tables, who Shawn Michaels super kicked and threw through a plate glass window, come back several years later as the jealous teammate against Shawn Michaels. Wow,
Mm-hmm.
that was a pretty good one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was a little kid, very little kid at that point, but I'd say like my real fandom started in the Attitude Era.
Oh wow. Your parents had got to be the coolest parents because I was 15. I started watching in 1990 when I was 6 going on 7. I know it was actually around WrestleMania. Was it WrestleMania 6? Yeah, WrestleMania 6, Hogan versus Warrior. And then I remembered like years later, I'm a teenager in during the Attitude Era, and I was sitting and telling myself, yo, like if I were 6 plus, I wouldn't be able to watch this wrestling. My aunt would have been like, nah, you better go watch some like Power Rangers. Something. You're not gonna listen to this and watch some men tell people to suck it and Sable have no top on. I was like, I got lucky that I was born during the time, or I was the age I was at the time, because I personally I wouldn't if I had a 6 year old kid, a 6 year old son or daughter. I'm not gonna let him watch that. I'm like, no, you don't need to watch that, man. Go watch Transformers or My Little Pony or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I was definitely watching it then, and like I was so captured by everything. Like I had all the action figures, wrestling cards. Like I was just enamored by everything wrestling at that point, and still today. But yeah, that's really when I got into it and was like watching it regularly, and all my friends we would watch, and we would they say don't try this at home, and we were like doing the moves to each other and like suplexing each other on the couch, and like my brother and we would like do crazy stuff. But um, yeah, that's really when I started watching like religiously.
Wow, that's cool. So, who are some of your favorites that you actually like enjoyed watching growing up that inspired you to want to get in the ring?
Yeah, I mean, I was like a big Stone Cold guy. That was he
Okay.
was he was the one for me. You know, Rock as well, and the one that I like got to appreciate more as I got older was Shawn Michaels. I liked him when I was younger, but I I don't think I really knew like how great he really was. Um, and then in my like teenage years, later teen years, that's when I really my fandom for Shawn Michaels really grew, and became like I studied him like in and out. So those are like some of my top three guys.
Ah, yeah, I gotta say, Shawn Mike. Sorry about that. I had some technical difficulties there. Yeah, I gotta say, Shawn Michaels, man, that guy, he really broke hearts when he actually broke up the Rockers. But the one thing and I don't know if you agree with this or not, but the one thing my theory is there's never been, excluding the return from retirement that he had against the Brothers of Destruction. That's understandable. Everybody gets ring rust. It happens to the best. It happens to some of the best that I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
But excluding that match, there has never been such thing as a bad Shawn Michaels match. The man has always been crisp in every match he has had.
Yeah, he's the showstopper. I mean, yeah, that says it all. I feel like he has just been on point for so many years, and now like he still continues to give back. It's just like he's just the man.
Yeah, and you know what? Something that's funny. He was, and so there was a 4 year hiatus that he had, I guess you call it a sabbatical, where he actually injured his back
Mm-hmm.
after WrestleMania. What was it, 20? No, WrestleMania what 14? WrestleMania 15, the one with him and Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm.
He actually was wrestling. He actually wrestled a match. It's somewhere online. It was against another guy by the name of Paul Diamond, who we actually had on the show as well. And Paul Diamond and Shawn, they were actually former tag team partners before. This was like pre-Rockers, like pre-Marty Jannetty. And Shawn Michaels was wrestling during, it was 1999 when he was actually like 1 year into retirement. And he was still wrestling like he never missed a day.
Hmm.
And it was a hardcore match too. And I was like, wow, this guy is really like, really something else in a good
Wow.
way.
Yeah. Yeah, they say sometimes the hardcore matches are actually easier to wrestle. Like, I mean, depending on how it goes or like what kind of weapons are being used, but they're
Yeah.
sometimes just like easier on your body because you can like protect yourself a little easier, and um, yeah, they could be more fun.
Yeah, I've seen some pretty fun. I've seen some pretty crazy ones too. I've seen some fun ones. Yeah. So, how did your journey now go from Joey Silver, the fan, to Sweet Cheeks Joey Silver, pro wrestler, graduate of the Nightmare Factory, and regular competitor for House of Glory?
Yeah, so I actually started training on Long Island at NYWC when I was 19. So just like Shawn, I was following his journey, and the trainers there were Tony Nese, now on AEW, and Alex Reynolds from the Dark Order.
Oh, okay, okay,
Um,
okay.
so they were like my first trainers, and it was super intense, really great training, like foundational training. And, I wrestled a bit, and then I went down to Delaware. I was wrestling there um, for like a couple years while I was going to school there. And then I took a break. I kind of stopped wrestling for like 3 or 4 years or so.
Mm.
And I came back. I had moved to Brooklyn, and I started training at House of Glory with Amazing Red. And that's been like so awesome. I've been there since 2018. So, about 4 years now. And it's been such a great training program there. So, really enjoy that. And it was last year, maybe a year and a couple months ago, that I saw Nightmare Factory was having their third camp. And I saw they just tweeted it out, and I was like, I didn't really think too much of it. But then I kind of kept thinking about it, and I was like, what if I moved down to Georgia? um, and I spoke to friends and family and people close to me, and kind of said, yeah, I can make this work. So I went on, like, I applied for the camp and got accepted, and went on Airbnb, like, got myself a place for 3 months and moved on down to Georgia and trained at the factory for 3 months last year. And what an awesome experience. Got to pretty much see Cody Rhodes and QT Marshall like every day. Training was 4 days a week, so it was pretty rigorous. And Cody was there a lot, and QT was there just as much. And got to share the ring with both of them, and uh, it was just really cool. Like, really cool to be down there and really, really focus on wrestling and just kind of honing the craft.
Yeah, I tell you, those showcases. I've seen every. I've missed. I haven't seen the last two showcases yet. I'm gonna get on that. Trust me, I'm definitely gonna get on it because I've always looked forward to them. I've ever since I Diamond Sheik, who I'm
Mm,
pretty sure we have either seen or bumped into,
yep.
um, told us that he was actually training there and he graduated. Like I haven't missed. I've really been tuning into them, and I gotta say I've always enjoyed watching them. There's always some memorable moment that I can take from each of them and be like, yeah, I remembered, you know, class three when Parker Lee beat Raiden the Canadian Destroyer with a Canadian Destroyer,
Mm-hmm.
or when Jet Dade came out of class two during a battle royal and he decided to play beer pong instead of actually compete, or class one where, and I call this like the most badass entrance I've seen in the history of the showcases so far. It was Cat Spencer and Brooke Havoc
Yeah.
make making their way to the ring in a, I think I forgot what the make and model of the car was, but it was a black, I guess, like US SUV type vehicle, and I was like, yo, that's pretty badass, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
That
of
was
course,
cool.
of course, MJ MJ Baby, I think that was her name, decided to throw orange soda on it, and they put a whooping on that girl. They were like, nah, you don't mess with the whip.
That's right. Good storytelling right there.
Yeah. So you graduated and everything, Cody and QT, Coach Glacier, Coach Ian, and the rest of the coaches and staff there at Nightmare Factory gave you the pat on the back, the handshake, and said, congratulations, you are now officially able to take bookings. You're a graduate of Nightmare Factory. You're already trained, but now you also you have to take part in the student.
I think we might be disconnected again, Remy. This is live TV, pal. I don't know if people are seeing me or you.
Yeah, did we get cut off again, or
We sure did.
uh where did I leave off at?
You said you've graduated now from the Nightmare Factory, and now you can, and it cut right
Okay.
off.
Ah, folks, I'm sorry about that. This is not how it normally happens. Just that I'm in an area where the Wi-Fi is kind of crazy, so this is not normally how we do it. Gainesville, you guys are killing me. But yeah, so so now you graduate, you get the handshake, the pat on the back.
No, Remy, we've disconnected again.
You're able to now you're able to now take bookings as a professional wrestler, which in you were already trained, but now you have the showcase coming up. What was your mindset? Were you nervous? Were you like, oh geez, Coach Cody's watching, Coach QT's watching. I hope I don't mess up. Or were you like, you know something? I got training from them, and I got training from Tony Nese and Alex Reynolds of the Dark Order. I got
Mhm.
this. Or was it a mixture of both?
It was a mixture of both. It definitely when Cody Rhodes is watching you, you're like, I want to be on my best game. So but at the same time, I have a lot of experience, and I've wrestled at that point. I had wrestled probably 100 matches, so I had a lot of experience under my belt. I was trained already at that point, like you said, by Tony Nese, by Alex Reynolds, by Amazing Red, and so I wasn't too nervous from like a nerves standpoint, but um, what up, Gainesville in the house? But I was nervous just because I knew Cody was watching, and you know the match went really, really well. Um, and afterwards, after the camp, we all got feedback on our matches, and Cody, he sent through like his notes on everyone's matches, and I don't know if anyone from the camp is watching right now, so I'm gonna toot my own horn for a second. But Cody said that my match was his favorite match of the night, so that was really, really cool to hear that feedback and get that from Cody Rhodes, who he's a legend, a living legend.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his for a while. I was actually a fan of his ever since he started. When
Mm-hmm.
because I've always I admired the way the Rhodes family worked in the ring, whether it was Dusty or whether it was Dustin. So to see Cody finally make his debut, I was like, oh snap! And then when I saw the dedication he had, I was like, you know what, this guy's gonna be something in professional wrestling. He's gonna be one. He's gonna be one of the most talked about. One of my friends is like, Cody Rhodes sucks. I'm like, dude, he just started wrestling. Like, what do you expect? Like a Shawn Michaels, give him some time.
Yeah.
And my friend, I'm sure my friend's eating his words right now because now he left WWE and he went on to win the NWA world title, and he even showed that he can actually develop a character on his own. Because I mean, some people were saying that Stardust was they didn't like the Stardust character. I liked it. That
Mm-hmm.
was that was like I've seen some gimmicks that were like it's okay, but it could be a bit better. But Stardust was great, and I always told people it was like, is this how you look at it?
Yeah.
So I've
He
always
owned
been,
it. He owned the character. So I
yeah.
don't mean legally. Like I just mean he like really leaned into the character and played it to his best ability. But we could definitely say, now that he is one of the most influential people in wrestling, today. So
Oh
it's pretty
yeah.
cool to like
Oh,
to say that he was my trainer.
yeah. Let me tell you something, man. Cody Rhodes, the way he speaks so properly right now, when I'm ready to cuss somebody, I'm like, now listen, you mother f. You know something? No, 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 no. Back it up. What would Cody do? What would Cody? WWCD.
What would Cody do?
Yeah, WWCD. What would Cody do? I'm like, now look here, you look here, you insolent fellow. I'm gonna tell you something right now. Your insolence is really causing a massive disruption with this crowd. So I'd really appreciate if you would just depart and go your merry way.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, but you guys, I just gotta say, you guys, had a great set of coaches. You have a great set of coaches down there. QT Marshall, in my opinion, is Like the guy's one of the most underrated in professional. I feel I'm not a wrestler. I'm just a mere fan. But the feeling I get is that people don't give him the amount of flowers he deserves. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Glacier is another one too that I've seen. And I'm like, I was a fan of Glacier back in the mid '90s, and I was like, man, Glacier has a great like appearance and everything, man. Like this guy could definitely go far. And just to see like that combination that's training y'all, Nightmare Factory can never go wrong. Plus, I heard that you got Coach Ian and the rest of them too. Just looking at like the strength and whatnot. Just like I think Coach Ian does strength, right?
Yeah, Coach Ian does strength, and Coach Carolyn, who is QT's wife, she did the nutrition plan. So that
Yeah.
was actually a hugely influential part of the whole camp. It was kind of half the camp where we would wrestle for about 2 hours, and then we'd have strength training for the other 2 hours. And a lot of it was, a lot of my time down there was focused on diet, in addition to the wrestling and weight training. But that's always been the hardest part for me, is like building muscle, putting on weight. So I was really able to, while I was down there, focus on, consistent weight training and consistent diet. So I was really able to see a difference in my body in those 3 months, which was really cool. And what else was I going to say about the camp? And about QT. Yeah, definitely a hugely underrated guy. I think you'll see that on Twitter when he claps back at people. Like people will tweet at him like, "Why is QT on the poster?" or "Why is QT on TV?" And he like writes back to them, and it's so funny because he just says, you watch and I'll show you why I'm on TV." But he's one of those guys who can really do anything in the ring. Like anything that a high flyer could do, he could do it. He could do, moonsaults off the top rope, backflips, like land it. Any of that kind of stuff, he's just a master in the ring. So um again, another guy who's just like underrated, um but so good.
Yeah, definitely. I've been following him since 2012. Since he was, I think he was called God's Gift,
Yeah.
and he come out with the apple. I remembered him from those days when he'd make the appearances on Ring of Honor. Definitely, one of the most underrated in professional wrestling. So you're back at House of Glory now, man. Back at your old stomping grounds, good old, Brooklyn, New York, my second home. The reason for those of y'all that are wondering why I call it my second home, because I'm originally from Guyana, and it's the reason why I have a
Mm.
little bit of an accent. But New York is actually my second home. It's what's afforded me a lot of opportunities. But you're back in good old New York right now, back at House of Glory with Amazing Red, Mantequilla, and the rest of the gang.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like going back and showing people, yo, look what I went to Georgia and learned. Y'all gonna learn something about me today.
Yeah, I mean, it was a warm welcome back. I think I kind of earned some stripes when I came back, and people were glad to see me after 3 months. And yeah, I was able to bring a little bit of knowledge down from Georgia back up to New York. So um, that's cool. I just want to share with my friends, and share the knowledge that I have, and just make everyone better. There's a wealth of knowledge there in Brooklyn with Red, with Montequilla, with Charles Mason. The main event. A lot of these guys, they're just really brilliant, not only in the ring, but when it comes to storytelling, when it comes to promos. And yeah, they're just like brilliant guys, all of them. So um, as much as I can share with them, I do. And I just hope that they share their wealth of knowledge with me as well. And um, but yeah, House of Glory is going really well. We've got another show coming up in just 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, Holy Grail, it's going to be Will Ospreay versus Low Key. It's gonna be a dream match. Um,
Woo! Yeah.
for sure. So that's going to be really good. And I know we have Natalia Markova versus Janai Kai for the women's championship, which is going to be killer. They're both really, really good. Um, Charles Mason versus Ken Broadway, Cash Flow Ken Broadway. So um, anytime those two are in the ring, you know it's going to be a banger. I'm not sure yet what I'm doing on the show, but I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm very excited.
Yeah. So you're the sultan of sweet, the champion of chocolate, the king of candy. So I gotta ask you, man, you what like how did you get that? How did you get that like that moniker? And what are some of your own like favorite chocolates and sweets that you? Because honestly speaking, I'm a sucker for some Hershey with almonds. I also like almond joy too.
Oh,
And
big almond
oh,
guy.
if you for some reason I was lucky to break the addiction, but I had a serious addiction to Cadbury fruit and nuts. There was one time where every night I had to have a bar of that. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever had Cadbury fruit and nut, but if you haven't, trust if you haven't yet, but you intend to, be careful. It might put you in rehab.
I can't say that I've had Cadbury fruit nuts, but sounds delicious. Um, I came up with the Sweet Cheeks character because I honestly just love candy so much. And I was like, how can I infuse my love of candy into wrestling? Um, and kind of just worked on this character. Um, everything from the tights to the light up jacket, like everything is a little homage to someone who's influenced me. Um, and these monikers that I've come up with, the champion of chocolate, the sultan of sweets, the king of candy. These are all just things I spent like months, if not years, just coming up with and brainstorming and these like fun little things because I've always admired those guys who have the monikers, Ric Flair, wheelin', dealin', kiss stealin', limousine riding, jet flying. Like when you can go off and just like recall all of those things, that I feel like that's really what helps connect with fans. And so I was like, okay, what could I do? What could I call myself? And there's so much to play with candy. Like there's so many puns, um, and so many like alliterations and things you could do with candy. So definitely got to have a lot of fun with that and coming up with just the design. Like I said, the design for tights, the designs for t-shirts like this one right here. Um, it's just fun. It's just fun for me, and it's very like colorful and creative, and I love it. As far as my favorite candies go, I'm a big chocolate guy, so I am in the realm of the Hershey's world, so I do love me some Reese's, some Kit Kats, some Twix. Those are kind of my top three. Recently, I've been a big fan of Kinder Bueno. I don't know if you've had that yet.
I've heard of that. I've never had it yet.
Mm-hmm.
But now that you bring it up, I will definitely have to check it out. What is it? A caramel cookie? What chocolate? Peanut
It's
butter?
like a wafer chocolate and like nougat cream. I don't even know what it is, but it's just so freaking good.
Okay. Wow. I will
Yeah.
definitely check that out. I've heard the name come across, but I've never like actually sought it out.
Yeah.
Because whenever I go to a candy store, it's like, oh look, there's some Hershey's almonds. Up there you go. Or my other secret indulgence that I like is peanut butter or peanut butter M&Ms. I'm also a sucker for that too, right?
Mm,
I could
that's my go-to candy when I'm on the road. Well, like after I'm done with a match, I'll go get some peanut butter M&Ms.
You have great taste.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I I'm actually a sucker for that. Actually, I'm definitely a sucker for some peanut butter. I could avoid. You could like say, hey Remy, you want some peanut M&Ms? Nah, I'm good. You want some chocolate M&Ms? Nah, I think I'll pass. Me next time. Peanut butter M&Ms? Hey, no, bring it right here. Yeah, I'll take a few. I'm like,
Always.
yeah. So I just got a couple more questions, before I shut it down.
Yeah.
So when Cody left WWE the first time back in 2016, he actually had a list that he posted on social media that had several of his dream opponents that he wanted to wrestle in the near future. Subsequently, several other wrestlers started doing the same thing as well. So, who are your top 5 opponents that you want to wrestle in the near future?
It's a great question. Top 5. I'm gonna go with Adam Cole as my number 1.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been like one of the guys that I really admire. Just over the past few years. Let's see. Usually, I only get like who's your one that you want to wrestle, but top 5. Let's see. Danhausen would be a really fun one.
Careful those curses.
I know, but big fan of Danhausen and his teeth, and he probably doesn't want my teeth because of the cavities, because of all the sugar. But all right, we got Adam Cole, we got Danhausen. I'm gonna say MJF.
Ooh, he's kind of mean.
He is kind of mean. I feel like we could make some magic together. Also, we actually are from the same town.
Okay, wow.
So, fun little MJF fact for all the viewers out there. Um, and all right, so we got Adam Cole, Danhausen, MJF. That's pretty AEW heavy.
Okay.
So let's maybe switch it up to a little WWE. I would love to wrestle. Hey, Rey Mysterio. Why not?
Okay.
Right?
All right.
Rey Mysterio, and I had a match not so recently in 2019. It was against Shannon Moore, and such a cool guy, like really cool to work with. But after the match, he was like, "Yeah, man, you were really good. Like, no different than being in the ring with Rey Mysterio or Billy Kidman." And I was like, "What?" He's
Wow.
comparing me to Rey Mysterio, so I was like, "Okay, that's really cool." Um, so yeah, we got Adam Cole, MJF, Danhausen, Rey Mysterio, and my final one. Um, who can I give this to? Uh, I don't know. There's like a few guys out there I really enjoy their work. Like Kyle O'Reilly is one who I would love to get in the ring with. I
Okay.
mean, the big names like your Seth Rollins. Hey, how about Cody Rhodes? I would love to.
That'd be nice.
That's a dream match.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, Sweet Cheeks versus Cody Rhodes.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. That'd be pretty awesome. So, speaking of AEW, you actually got to wrestle a few matches on AEW as well. One of them was actually against the Dark Order, Eva Luno and Stu Grayson, and I forgot who the third opponent was.
It was Colt Cabana.
Yeah, Cole Cabana, and you had a singles match. Was it against Eddie Kingston?
The singles match was against Michael Nakazawa.
Yes, MT Nakazawa. Yeah, yeah, I knew you had a singles match. So,
Mm-hmm.
what's it like actually getting that opportunity to go on that stage and wrestle those two matches in front of thousands and thousands of people in the stadium and watching at home as well?
Yeah, that was kind of my hope coming out of the Nightmare Factory camp, was that I would get these opportunities with AEW for Dark Elevation. And, sure enough, not too long after I left Georgia, they called me. QT called me and said, come down for a Dark taping. It was just so cool to be back there, backstage with some of the guys. And I'm like over here fanboying over like all my like Sting. I'm rubbing shoulders with Sting and like Chris Jericho. So it really doesn't get much better than that. What up, Jay Stacks? Um, so yeah, I feel like I'm in there with guys who I've idolized growing up. And now I'm like sharing a locker room with them. And yeah, I'm not signed, but like it's a step closer, you know? So it was really cool to be able to call a match with guys like Dark Order, guys like Nakazawa. I was in there with Billy Gunn as well.
Okay.
So that and the Gun Club. But to be calling a match with Billy Gunn, like it's a dream. As a kid growing up on the Attitude Era, like Billy Gunn was one of the big names. So it was just so cool to be in the ring with him, and he kind of like put over the Sweet Cheeks gimmick too. So because it was a Mr. Ass and Sweet Cheeks. So
Oh, hey,
yeah,
y'all might be onto something right there. I'm just saying.
yeah,
Sweet Cheeks, Mr. Ass, and the Ass Boy. Well, they don't like to be called the Ass Boys, but if they were to be like to be called the Ass Boys, I mean, I think there might be a bit of a kind of cool like gimmick like moniker thing y'all could do
yeah,
uh there as well. You
yeah.
know,
I definitely think so. But that's for the powers above.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you like because I've seen so many great like so many parents that could be great, but it's like all up to them. So I'm like, one could only dream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we have a fan. So Jay Stacks wants to know if you're booked for HOG next Friday, House of Glory, that is.
Jay Stacks, I will be there, man. I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet. I might be part of the six-way that they always have. It might be a different setup. I don't know exactly what my role will be quite yet, but I will be there. Officer Sweet Cheeks will be in the house.
Yeah. So I just got two more questions. So my second to last question, when you're getting ready to, face your opponent, or you're getting ready to like do a workout in the gym, whether it's cardio, whether it's some weightlifting and whatnot, what are some songs that get you into that zone to knock out those workouts, the cardio, and to also, face your that gets you in the zone to face your opponents?
It's a great question. I this is gonna sound so nerdy, but like when I'm in the gym, I listen strictly to pro wrestling theme songs.
Hey, that's me too.
Let's go.
So at one time it was Real American by Hulk Hogan,
Yeah.
Roppongi 3K by Mr. Ferret. What was it? Rocky Romero. He was the
Mm-hmm.
one that wrote that song. And the last one I listened to was the Gorillas of Destiny song by No Name Tim.
Mm.
Those are my three that I've worked out to, and I've had a couple of others, but those were my main three.
Well, some of the ones that really get me going are, Cody's theme song,
I've heard about
um,
that.
the Fiend theme song,
Oh, okay.
um, Stone Cold, of course.
Oh, okay.
I really like lifting to Malachi Black's theme song or his WWE theme song. Um, and I'll give you one more. Um, Marty Skrull.
Ooh, the villain. I
Yeah,
forgot what the villain was like. Yeah.
for some reason, I know it's like very simple music, but for some reason just gets me hyped.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say they've worked out to the Fiend, but
Oh,
uh,
that's a good one.
I've heard many people say that Cody's own. I forgot what the name. I know it as adrenaline, but
Yeah,
I've heard people say that they've actually worked out to that. But
and
yeah.
Judas too is a good one, a good workout song.
Oh, right, right, right. By Fozzy.
Yeah,
Pretty cool list. Pretty cool list.
thanks, man.
So my last question. before we shut down the show, if somebody came up to you and said, because you've been doing this for 10 plus years, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been doing this for 10 years. A lot of experience you have. Some young up and comer comes up to you and says, "Hey, Joey, I want to have as long a career as you. What advice would you give that person to have them have as long a career as you've had in professional wrestling?"
Well, I'll steal the advice from Hulk Hogan. When I met him once, I said, "Do you have any advice for a young up and comer?" And he said, "Don't get hurt." So avoid injury at all costs. I've been lucky enough to not suffer from any serious injuries. I have a torn meniscus. Um, right now, kind of nursing a bad shoulder, um, but nothing like really serious. And as silly and like stupid as it may sound, just be as safe as possible and don't take like unnecessary risks, because if you want to have a long career, you can't be diving off the ceiling and diving off these like tall structures and landing onto cement and landing on through a table. And you see the rare people who do it, like your Jeff Hardy or your Darby Allin, but that's two out of like how many people do that, and they end up shortening their career or getting seriously injured. Um, so safety is such a priority for me. I'm going to be 30 years old soon. I'm getting up there, but the older I get, the more I prioritize my own safety in the ring and the safety of my opponents. Oh, I think you're still on mute, Remy.
Sorry about that. That happens. Hey, 30's not old, man. You still got some more matches in you, man. You got a lot more, man. You're good.
Got a
You know,
lot left in the tank.
I'll tell you what. I'm 39. I wish
Okay.
I was 30. So
I hear you. I hear you.
yeah. So I just gotta say, man. Joey, it was a pleasure to have you on here. And if nobody's told you this before, you're gonna hear it for the first time. But if somebody's told you before, or many people have told you before, you're probably gonna hear it for the millionth time. Thank you for the 10 plus years you've given us, the matches and memories you've given us. I know it's not easy. I'm a fan. I've never been in the ring. I've never taken even much less of a bump. I've never ran the ropes, but I know it's not easy doing what you do. So I just have to say, on behalf of myself, Kathy Knight, and Rob Bass, who would share my sentiments as well, thank you very much for all that you've given us, in professional wrestling as well. And best of luck in your match at House of Glory. Um, Definitely looking forward to seeing you. Hopefully take that W and go on to do even greater things as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, this was a pleasure. And just as you thank me for, giving myself to the company, to the industry, I thank you and for being a fan. And without fans, there's no wrestling. So, thank you.
Yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna piggyback off that just briefly. Yes, he is right. Without fans, there is no wrestling, and that's why we here at Ringside Society also have 15 minutes of fandom, which is our segment dedicated to you fans. If there's any wrestling fans out there that would like to be on our show to tell their story, you don't have to be no popular fan. You don't have to be the guy with the crazy "I hate Cena" shirt, or the guy that was like this when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker. You could be a regular Joe Schmo fan. We'll still talk to you. So hit us up. Jay Stacks, if you're interested, hit us up as well. But before I shut it down, Joey has got to ask, where can fans find you on social media when they want to find out your next appearances, purchase Joey Silver merchandise, rock the Sweet Cheeks t-shirt, and where can bookers and promoters find you when they want to book you for their shows?
Yeah, so bookers and promoters, feel free to reach out to any of my social media. I on Instagram, Joey on Instagram and Twitter, Joey_Silver. Also on TikTok, Joey Silver Wrestling. So yeah, got some great content on there as well, and I try to post different content on different channels, so it's kind of you gotta follow me on all to keep up with everything. But and you could buy this shirt along with one of my other designs on What a Maneuver. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. So y'all heard the man's on social media. He has merchandise available. Go out there, support, follow, attend the shows. Also cop some, Joey Silver merchandise from Water Maneuver. If you can't make the shows, this is another way you can support indie wrestling. Is buy the shirt. Because let's be honest, when he gets signed WWE or AEW or Impact, and somebody comes up and they're like, "Hey, yo, I got that sweet cheek shirt from WWE Shop or Shop AEW or whatever Impact names their little shopping website." You could be like, "Boy, girl, if you don't get yourself out, I got the sweet cheek shirt from when he was on the Indies, man. I'm a real fan, yo. Be
That's
out of
right.
here." It's always a
That's
great
right.
feeling to know that you support somebody from when they started up until they hit the big time. So go ahead and cop some, Sweet Cheeks merchandise. What a Maneuver is the name of the site. You trust me, you won't regret it. And with that being said, it's about time for us to shut this show down. My eyelids are getting a bit heavy and my stomach is kind of rumbling, so that means it's time for a nap and dinner. Maybe not in that order, but before I indulge in those activities, if you want to find me on social media, you can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Instagram at the Remy Blue, and also I'm on Facebook as Remy Blue, obviously. So you can follow me on those social media platforms. Our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitter and Instagram at Ringside Society, Twitch at Ringside Society 2019. We're also on Facebook as a Facebook group, and we're on Blog Talk, Spotify, and also YouTube, where you can find many great interviews like this one, like the one we did with Gaston, the assassin, Austin Keith, Inevitable Michael Martinez, Katie Hebner, and many other great students from the Nightmare Factory, whether it's class 1, class 2, or class 3. Hell, we even had Ryan Hawthorne from class 6. So definitely make sure you're following us. Go on YouTube, type in Ringside Society. You will see that sweet OMG dark blue and light blue yin yang sign with the blue flames around it. That's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. And with that being said, we just want to thank everybody tuning in tonight live. Jay Stacks, Amanda Hart, the All About Wrestling podcast. Thank you very much. We really and truly appreciate it. We try our best to bring you some of the best wrestling content wrestling fans can watch and listen. So we're really and truly grateful for that. To those of y'all that are going to listen to us later on when you get a chance, thank you very much in advance. And those of y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away, well, like myself at the Gordon Corral, heck, like myself at the Hershey store in Times Square, New York City, we ain't going anywhere for a while. And with that being said, I just want to let y'all know that we here at Ringside Society, myself, Rob Bass, and Kathy Knight are very well aware to everybody and the grandparents and the parents of a podcast. Well, we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast. As a matter of fact, we're not just any podcast. So with that being said, one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for the Nightmare Factory Class 3 graduate, the Sultan of Sweet, no, the Sultan of Sugar, the champion of chocolate, the king of candy, Sweet Cheeks, Joey Silver. We're the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. And with that being said, we will be back next week with more impressive guests and more impressive episodes. But until then, I just have 4 favors. Yes, just 4. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
Peace.